Hello and welcome back to the Watford Way as Ed Steele is officially relieved of his duties as Watford head coach. Let's take a look at the very short club statement. And this is the statement. It says Watford FC have this morning parted company with head coach Ed Steele. First team coach Karim has also left the club. We wish them all the best in their future endeavours. Okay, it's been officially confirmed now that Ed Steele has lost his job and will go on to pastures new. We, of course, wish him all the best here at the Watford Way. What I want to discuss first, though, before we get on to the bigger picture, is how the club have handled this over the past couple of weeks. It was clear to me that a few days ago the decision to sack Ed Steele had been briefed to national media outlets. The Watford Observer, TalkSport, Sky and others had all ran with the story that he was set to lose his position at the end of the season. And instead of addressing that or issuing a club statement earlier before the final game, Watford chose to stay silent and instead paraded Ed in his press conference to discuss pre-season. Ed sat there on Friday afternoon and said that he'd been speaking with club officials about plans for the summer transfer window and how pre-season was going to shape up and look. And less than 48 hours later, he loses his position. So for me, this hasn't been handled with any grace or care from Watford. And in that regard, I feel really sorry for Ed. I could tell from the moment he stepped through the door that he was a thoroughly decent guy. And from everyone I've spoken to who has interacted with Ed Steele, both inside and outside the club, he does seem like a top bloke. And to handle it with such little care in the end towards his emotions and feelings, I find, really disrespectful. Now, that's just my opinion. You can absolutely disagree, and people have disagreed with me already today on social media. If you're a match-going fan and go week in, week out and see loss after loss after loss after spending all your hard-earned money, you're absolutely entitled to your opinion. But I just wanted to address Ed as a human for a moment, rather than just a name, on the official club statement, because I do feel for him. I feel for Ed on a human level, and I hope Watford can improve when it comes to that. Moving forward. Now, look, let's take the decision at face value. Let's talk about the bigger picture. Was this the right move? Well, we've been through 3 head coaches since Tom Cleverley was dismissed. We've had Paolo Pezzolano, we've had Javi Gracia, and now we've had Ed Steele. Was it the right decision? Well, look, I think at any club, if you look at his record, 5 defeats in a row to end the season. I think it was 16 goals conceded in them 5 games, with just 1 scored, of course, against Charlton Athletic. So the record speaks for itself, right? It's not good enough, and I do feel he has had enough players fit and available to do better than he has. So Watford had to make a change. I think that was very clear. I don't think Ed was helped early on by his association to controversial agent Moggy Bayat. We know that Mr. Bayat and Pozzo have a very close, friendly relationship, is what I'll say. They're often photographed together in the director's box, sitting next to each other's families. And because of Ed's association with him, I felt it took a long time for fans to get on board with the appointment. It almost was reminiscent of like Gino Pozzo phoning up Bayer and saying, Javi Gracia has just resigned. Have you got anyone on your books who you think would be a good fit? And Bayer went, yeah, Gino, I think Ed Steele could be a good fit for you. And Gino went, yeah, let's give it a go. Let's see how it pans out. That's what it feels like to me as a fan. And that isn't a football club with any plan. That isn't a football club with any long-term ideas or strategy. It's short-term thinking and trying your luck at getting a quick promotion back to the Premier League. And I think for Gino, his luck has finally run out. And for us to continue in the right direction and for us to continue growing as a football club, we have to see now drastic monumental change. We've had the first block fall. Ed still has departed. What I want to see now is a shift from top to bottom. I'd love to see, if Gino Pozzo had any balls, Scott Duxbury lose his position, which won't happen because Scott Duxbury takes a lot of the flack on behalf of Gino for a cool £500,000 per year. So I don't think Scott will be going anywhere anytime soon. The more likely scenario for me at the moment would be, and this could happen, Juan-Luca Nani losing his role. I could see Valon Barami departing the club as well. And I could also see potentially Gino distancing himself from Bayer, actually, just to try and get the fans back on side. I think for all of us, what we want long term is, of course, ultimately an ownership change. But if that can't happen for whatever reason, the best we can hope for now is for Gino Pozzo to somehow see sense and really distance himself from these very toxic characters within the game. That's what I'd like to see as a fan moving forward. So yes, Scott Duxbury, ideally I'd like to see him go. I don't think that will happen. I think more realistically what we'll see happen in the next few weeks is the departures of Juan-Luca Nani and Valon Barami, and potentially also, as I said, the distancing as well from Moggy Bayer, at least publicly anyway. I don't think next season Bayer will be at very many Watford games, although privately I'm sure Gino Pozzo may keep that relationship open. So, what next? What happens now? I think in the next hours, the next days, the next weeks, we'll see lots of names and rumours linked with the head coach role. There's been a few at the moment, but nothing too concrete as it stands. Luciano Vulcano and Stefano Pioli are still being spoken about. The latest name in the mix is former Cardiff City head coach Errol Bullett, and from what I gather, he wasn't very well liked by the Cardiff fans at all. It sounds like he was quite instrumental in taking them down to League One. So if I was Watford, I'd steer well clear of him. Let me know who you would like in the comment section down below. I know it's difficult nowadays, given we've been through about 25 head coaches in the last 10 years. But if you do have a name, let me know, and I would be more than happy to discuss that with you. Sean Dyche ruled himself out during the week, which I found quite funny. I don't think Sean Dyche would ever return to Watford whilst Gino Pozzo is here. The first thing Gino Pozzo did when he came to the club was relieving Dyche of his duties. He never really got a chance to show what he was about when the Pozzo family took over. So I did find it interesting to read Sean Dyche's comments about the current state of Watford. Thank you for watching once again, and I'm sure I'll see you very soon when the next bit of news drops. Bye bye.